In February of 2020, I was in Paris for the Leonardo exhibition at the Louvre. I like to stay directly across from the Louvre at the aptly named Hôtel du Louvre. If you know me from this podcast or as a vegan life coach, you may not know what an insufferable culture vulture I am. I love museums, art history, medieval architecture, crypts, old streets, ruins, ramparts, moats, traditional artisanal creations. I love it. France was my last trip abroad, and this fall it will be our first trip back to Europe. So I'm a Francophile and an enthusiastic medievalist, and back in the dark days of December 2020, when we had only one thing on our calendar for 2021, my husband and I decided to book a trip to France. Today, I'm sharing my conversation with French tourism expert and veteran podcaster, Annie Sargent. Annie, who is French and based in Toulouse, created her English language podcast, Join Us in France, in 2014. And there is now an amazing back catalog, 354 episodes as of this recording, full of resources for frequent visitors, occasional travelers, and armchair tourists alike. Annie leads groups, creates apps from VoiceMap, self-guiding tours of the Marais, Ile de la Cité, Montmartre, and Saint-Germain-des-Prés, as well as itinerary planning. And Annie was invaluable looking over my itinerary in the Southwest, her home region, last December when my husband and I decided we would visit Toulouse, Carcassonne, and Bordeaux, all for the first time. France may not yet have the reputation as most vegan-friendly country, but that is changing bit by bit. Today, Annie sits down to chat French travel, how to ask for what you want, how to use social media tools to help get the best vegan options available, the newest travel advice, and lots more. Today's conversation with Annie Sargent is for those of us itching to get back to travel, or at least dreaming about travel, and especially those of us who are vegan and sometimes reticent to ask for what we want in a country so famous for its meat and dairy products. Remember, asking for what you want, that's an entire module in my Vedge Your Best curriculum with my one-on-one coaching clients. It's never just about the food, is it? So, direct from France and her podcast, Join Us in France, I hope you'll enjoy meeting Annie Sargent. Annie Sargent. Bonjour, Annie.
Bonjour, Michele. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very, very excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've been listening to Join Us in France for maybe not quite the beginning, but pretty close to the beginning. And I am one of those people that binge listened to all of it when I found it.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you. And I've listened to your podcast as well. I haven't binge listened to all of them, but I don't have that much time for listening. I have to really be careful. Although I've cut out a lot of political podcasts that I used to listen to because I've had enough of that.
I understand that feeling. Yeah, it's not really helping.
No, it's not.
So I wanted to have you on the podcast for a number of reasons. One of them, people who listen to my intro will have heard this. You are one of my podcasting mentors. You don't know this, but you are. And I'm a Francophile and I love France. And so when I'm not in France, I want to learn about France. And you and your partner, Elise,
Yeah.
I'm an art historian by training. And so I enjoy hearing her take on everything. I especially like medieval things. And so earlier in the year, maybe at the end of last year, I contacted Annie about giving me an itinerary consultation about our trip to Southwest France for my listeners. And so that gave me the idea that now, as I'm coming up on this trip, to check in with Annie.
Sounds good.
And so you know that my listeners are typically either vegan or interested in moving in that direction.
Right.
And you've done a wonderful episode back in 2019, and I'm about being vegan, a vegan traveler in France, with your advice. And I keep hearing that there's more and more out there. And France is a place where some people are very intimidated if they're new vegans or semi-vegans to ask for what they want. And I thought maybe you would give us, your take on how to be respectful of French culture and still eat what you want to eat.
Sure. Now, the first thing is there are more and more vegans in France. Obviously, it's mostly younger people who are changing their habits. People 50 and up are not quite there, most of them, but some are, you'll find more and more. And big cities in France offer a lot of choices for people who eat vegan, as far as restaurants are concerned. Okay, I'm just going to talk about restaurants for now, because I'm imagining if you're traveling, that's mostly what you want to do. So if you stick to the big cities, you will have lots of choices. Paris actually has quite a few very nice choices. The problem occurs when you are traveling outside of large cities. And okay, so if you go to Provence, where there are a lot of foreign visitors and a lot of English-speaking visitors, they are familiar with the whole concept of vegan. But if you go places that are just where only French visitors go, some of them don't even know what vegan means. They just, so the terminology in French is vegan ou végane for the feminine, but the original term was végétalien. So you have végétarien with an R, and végétalien with an L is no animal products at all. And there are still people who are not going to know what exactly you mean. I remember years ago, I was working for a tech company near Nice. Sophia Antipolis it's a big complex of high-tech companies. And they had a couple of guys from India who were spending a couple of months at the company on site, and they were vegan, and they ate fries every day.
Yeah, so few choices. Yeah.
But this was years ago. This was 15 years ago. They really didn't have a lot of choices. And the company cafeteria, that's all they could find every day that was vegan. And then one day I told them, look, I'm going to take you to there was a town nearby, a beautiful little scenic place that had several Indian restaurants. And I said, surely at an Indian restaurant, they'll have a vegan option. And they did, but they said it wasn't flavored to their taste. They didn't like it anyway.
Yeah.
But they were funny guys. It takes a special kind of person to be able to eat fries every day for months. So there's always that. You can always ask for fries, but
fries and green salad. Yeah.
Right. You can do a lot better than that. So what I would recommend is that you, first of all, the app Happy Cow that I'm sure you use in the US also works for France. And they have a lot of selections. And this morning, in preparation for this conversation, I went to search for this. There's also a French app called Vedge Resto, Vegoresto.
Huh. So that's just French.
Well, as far as I can tell, it started in France, and so for now they mostly show things in France, and they show a ton of restaurants around me. For instance, I live near Toulouse. I mean, not right around me, but if I go a few kilometers towards the city, they show a bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
So you should install, if you're going to be traveling to France, you should install Happy Cow, obviously, and Vedge Resto, because it would give you a lot of possibilities.
Right.
The other thing that I have found is that TripAdvisor, if you use it right, can show you restaurants that have vegan options. Now, this assumes that you're the kind of vegan person who doesn't mind eating next to someone who's eating a steak, obviously. Right. Okay. But there are also a lot of restaurants in France who will have lots of them have vegetarian options. A French classic is, omelette, and that's vegetarian. But fewer of them have vegan options, but some do. And if you go to TripAdvisor and you look on the left side, one of the boxes you can tick is dietary restrictions, and vegan is one of them. And then they will just narrow it down to restaurants that have a vegan option.
So that's a filter we can use when we go on TripAdvisor.
Exactly.
That's
it's a
great.
filter. It's a filter you should use when you go to TripAdvisor. And I think that will make your life easier, because you can then show this same list on the map. And so it will show you where these restaurants are.
That's a nice feature, because it just puts it right in front of you. Yeah.
Right. So if you're far away. So all of this is happening on the left side of TripAdvisor. You have all sorts of things that you can filter by. And then at the top, it says view map. And so it'll show you whatever you selected on the map.
Beautiful. That's really good advice.
Really that's a really good way to do it, because like you mentioned, I do consults for people who want some help organizing their trip to France, and very often they ask me they have dietary restrictions of one sort or another, and so I use this all the time, and it works pretty well. And what I do also is I typically also call the restaurant to make sure, because sometimes they set this up a long time ago, and it might be good if it's a fancy place. The other thing that happens in France is that the more you pay, the more likely they are to have a vegan option. Mm-hmm. So you will find vegan options in the very cheapest restaurants. So like the kebab places, because kebab owners often are Muslim, mm-hmm. and they don't want to eat meat that hasn't been butchered in the way they agree with. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they will often have falafel sandwiches that can be made vegan. Not all falafel are vegan, but many, right. A lot are. So that's also another. So that's the cheapest. If there's a kebab type place, they might have something for you. Or if you go into Michelin star restaurants, mm-hmm. or listed, then they're used to this. They totally know what to do, and they mm-hmm. will fix you something very nice. Will be more expensive, but it'll be very nice, and you can ask for vegan options there as well,
because they're used to cooking for you from scratch to order everything.
Exactly. Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And also because it's a more expensive restaurant, they're used to a higher clientele, they're used to international visitors, and in America anyway, it so happens that it's the higher earners that are more often vegan. Mm-hmm. I've seen this as a correlation, not necessarily, but visitors who are vegans usually are better off than visitors
who are
not.
That's interesting.
That's just
well, don't you think though that people who travel are maybe have more disposable income than people who don't?
That's true as well.
Yeah.
definitely.
It's interesting because we have a very one of the more influential groups for me has been the African American community. The urban African American community in the United States have a lot of vegans, and a lot of people are surprised by that. But in Florida,
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I'm in Florida. Yeah, it's a very, very and I have not studied it to know exactly what brings people to that. But I think there's a certain social justice mentality of morals and of coming from an ethical place. And also there are people the Rastafarian community is usually vegetarian, as I understand it, and very often vegan. I think they have another term like ITAL, I think is the name of their. But anyway, it's very interesting because there are so many different, and I totally agree with you. There is a level of affluent white traveler that is now vegan over the last few years, for sure.
Right. And even in France, they've started to offer, gluten-free things because they have more and more people who ask for these sorts of options. And why not?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Though I do think over the years, I've been traveling in France for many years, not regularly, not often. So like every year or every couple of years. And sometimes I have felt that there's a pride in French gastronomic, heritage and tradition. And sometimes I've felt that I've been interpreted as being disrespectful of, why are you coming here and asking for that? You've come to France.
Yeah.
This is what we have here. And I actually love French culture, and I hope to be very respectful. So what is a way to politely maybe?
Okay, if you're worried about not offending people, which is not something I worry about a lot, but okay. I'm very blunt. And French people, generally speaking, are very blunt. But you could say, I have allergies. You could say, I cannot eat this. It makes me sick. Ça me rend malade. Okay? But I don't think you need to do that. I think there are some people, obviously, if you go into a restaurant that specializes in cassoulet, and you ask them for vegan cassoulet, they might give you a surprised look because that's not something that most people want. But I think in most places, it's totally fine to say, I can't eat this. Mm-hmm. I just won't eat this. Mm-hmm. It's happened to me even, I've eaten vegan at times in my life, but even as a non-vegan, I remember in Spain ordering something. I didn't know what I was ordering, and they brought me these snails, and I was like, I cannot eat this. Mm-hmm. Even as somebody who's not vegan, there was no way that was going down my gullet. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it's totally okay to be genuine about what your preferences are. You don't want to eat this stuff, you don't have to. And I think it's okay to ask if they have an option. Like, okay, in the Southwest where I live, they make a lot of salads with duck. So it's going to be, gésier de canard or something. You could ask them, no duck.
Sans canard.
Sans canard, sans canard. Uh-huh. Sans œufs, sans canard, sans bacon, sans lardon. Mm-hmm. These are the things, sans fromage. I could send you a list of things that you could say, but if you just say vegan, if you say je suis végane, mm-hmm. Qu'est-ce que vous me proposez?
Beautiful. Qu'est-ce que vous me proposez? Okay.
Yes. And they will possibly say nothing, mm-hmm. but hopefully they will have something.
This happens in the US too, because people will say, the server will say, well, no, there's nothing, because there's nothing on the menu. But if sometimes you need to cajole just a little to kind of seduce them into, well, maybe a grain, maybe a starch, maybe a broccoli or a cabbage or something, so do you think that would work too? To be a little
definitely.
Bit help. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. Just ask, exactly. I mean, just ask, vous devez avoir de la salade, vous devez avoir des tomates,
Mm.
vous pouvez faire une salade composée,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sans œufs, sans... Because the thing is, French people are so used to, most French people, not me, but most French people control very carefully everything they eat.
Mm-hmm.
They never snack. They never go eat a bar of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
They are very, very careful about their weight and about their eating habits, except when they go to the restaurant. At the restaurant, all bets are off. You can ask for a 3,000 calorie meal. Nobody will bat an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you're at the restaurant. And so this is a cultural thing that when we go to the restaurant, they assume that the whole idea is you want to have a great time. You want to drink normal. You want to have an appetizer and a magnificent dessert, and you want this and you want that. And so that's what they want to bring to you.
Mm.
But it's okay to just say, non, 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 je suis en vacances. Je ne peux pas manger comme ça tous les jours.
Right.
You could just tell them, like, and they understand, you've been on vacation for 2 weeks. You can't keep eating like that.
That's great.
Yeah. So you just have to be a bit like negotiate. Everything in France is a negotiation. If they say, oh non, on n'a rien, you can just say, vraiment? Oh, vous devez avoir de la salade, vous devez avoir des frites, vous devez avoir du pain, des tomates, des fruits, des lentilles peut-être. But I mean, honestly, if you're going to be in France for a long time, and especially in rural France, it's probably best for you to be somewhere where you can cook a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not a full kitchen, because even if you go to the French grocery store, we have some good options now at the French grocery store. Obviously, we have wonderful fruits and vegetables in France. Very, very good stuff. I mean, very fresh, different varieties that you've never seen in the US. It's really good that way. The other thing that we have is French people love yogurts, right? And so we have a lot of yogurts based on cocoa milk.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very good. They're very good. So they are vegan, but they are delicious. They're not fat-free or nothing.
Right.
Yeah, it's usually coconut milk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of these yogurts, and you can find them everywhere. So you find them with a vanilla flavoring or no flavoring or chocolate or strawberry, whatever.
Mm.
You see all these vegan yogurts, and they are pretty popular. They're very luscious, a lot of them. The other thing that we have now is a lot of all sorts of almond milk, soy milk, all of that. Now, at the grocery store, you will find those. Hardly ever at a cafe.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Right. So if you like a latte, most places won't have soy milk to substitute. They just don't. I mean, maybe in Paris, but not any other places where I go.
Mm-hmm.
In France, we eat a lot of legumes that are, some of them are already cooked. You can buy little pockets of lentils already cooked, and they're cooked with a little bit of onion and a little bit of carrots.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just warm that up in the microwave. We had some just a couple of days ago, and they're good. It's good. It's healthy.
And probably quite affordable, very cheap for
very affordable.
Yeah.
Very affordable. It's €1 or so. We have some faux meats, like the soy burgers and things like that. Not as big a selection as what you get in the US, but we have some. Yeah, that's the notes I had. But yeah, you can always ask for in the grocery store. They even have a little green check mark that says vegan,
like a V. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a V, vegan, on a lot of products. More and more, it's getting to the point where it's fairly easy. Even pre-made meals the sort of pre-made meals that you'd buy for Weight Watchers or whatever,
Right.
except that they're not Weight Watchers, but they are vegetarian or vegan. Some of them are vegan, not all, but some are vegan.
I remember a couple of very nice offerings in what is it called? The little sandwich.
Prêt à manger.
Prêt à manger, right. Which I never think it's. I always think that's not really French.
It's not.
Right, but they have very nice. But they have different offerings in each place. In the U.S. is very different than in the U.K. And they had some very nice sandwiches that were vegan. I remember taking on the train and taking on a plane last time. So
and they have little salads. They have little legume salads.
Yes,
even at the French grocery store, especially in Paris, they have a lot of that, because in Paris, they are used to have lots of people from different places, and so they don't stick bacon into everything. But in the southwest of France, it's like, oh, stop it with the duck and the lardon. I mean,
well, that is where I'm going. That's where I'm going. And for my listeners, maybe that's why I'm having you here, because for my listeners, I think it was December, Annie got on the phone with me, and she has a service where she will look at your itinerary and give you some feedback and give you some suggestions and talk you through it, and then get back to you with a list of ideas. And my husband and I really wanted to go to Carcassonne. So probably the biggest airport near Carcassonne was Toulouse, which is...
No, Carcassonne has an airport.
Has a little airport, but I can't fly basically from the States to
no
Carcassonne. So we got a flight to Toulouse. And so then I chatted with Annie about it. And I know that Annie knows all about all these cultural things. Not only is she a tour guide, but she has a partner in many of her tours and in the podcast, Elise, who's a very
knowledgeable
art historian. Yeah.
And she's extremely careful about what she eats. So she will tell you, she can tell you all the calories and all the this and that. She tells you, everything. She knows.
Oh, really? That's good to know. That's really good to know. Elise Rivlin? Riven.
Right. She has a website called ToulouseGuidedWalks.com, and she's great with she does great walks of Toulouse. She also has a voice map tour of Toulouse.
So she did that one. You didn't do that voice map, the Toulouse.
No, I did Paris.
You did Paris.
The two of us, we tried to not step on each other's toes. So I told her she needs to do one of Carcassonne, but she knows the place inside and out and backwards.
Yeah.
But she's sitting down and doing the work.
So that's interesting. And this is another thing for my listeners to know about voice maps. How would you describe what voice maps are, Annie?
Okay, so voice map is one of many it's an app that you can download for free on your Android or iPhone or whatever you have. And once you have the app, you can browse through tours all over the world. I have done 4 for Paris that are very popular right now because people don't want to join a group tour with people because they're afraid of COVID. And so the ability to have your phone. So what happens is I in my Paris tours, for example, I tell you where we go meet, and you can go whenever you want, the metro station, whatever. And as soon as you exit the metro, I start talking.
So it knows where you are because it's connected. Mm-hmm.
It's connected with your GPS. Mm-hmm. So you download the tour when you're home so that you don't need data necessarily, because on your phone, even if you don't have data, the GPS still works.
Oh.
And so, so you have the tour is downloaded to your phone. The GPS still works. I start talking. I tell you, welcome to Paris, and I'm going to take you on the tour of this and that. And I give you voice clues of where you need to go next. And also you have a map on the phone, but it's made so that you can just put your phone away and just listen.
Yeah.
And just enjoy, listen, look around. I point out things that are interesting. I tell you little stories, all of that. And those tours are super popular.
So remind me, I know you have one for Ile de la Cité, right?
Yeah, Le Marais.
Le Marais, okay.
One,
now I put you on the spot.
I wrote them like a while back. Hang on.
Yeah, I know I did Ile de la Cité, and I know I did maybe
Le Marais.
I'm sure it was the Le Marais. Yeah.
Saint-Germain-des-Prés
Okay.
is the other one. And then
Montmartre.
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 Oh, it's actually wrong on my website. It says Montparnasse. It's Montmartre. Gotta go fix that. I just noticed it.
Oh, look how valuable this has been.
Yeah. It shows a picture of Montmartre.
Montmartre.
I mean, like, there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting. There are a lot of these. I don't know. I find these new apps, these new things, super interesting. For us to I think get comfortable with getting more information, and also you become as a personal tour guide. It's once you realize how much there is behind every corner, you kind of want someone to stop and show you. Yeah.
Because when you walk around places like Saint-Germain-des-Prés, it is such an overload of the senses. You know, it's just people, cars, noises, smells, all of these things. It's overwhelming, and you can easily walk right by something without noticing it. And then somebody later on Facebook tells you, "Oh, did you see this?" And you're like, "No, I didn't see it." And you feel terrible that you didn't see it.
Yes.
But if you have one of those tours, obviously the tours will take you to all the places that are, you know, we know the places where people want to go because they are famous, because they have some historical relevance or whatever.
And every year people come and they want to see the same 15 things probably.
It happens a lot, which is fine. You know, I think it's actually better to go back to the big hits than the people who show up in France with no preparation. Obviously, people who listen to my podcast are people who want to prepare, but there are a lot of people who show up, they have no idea what it's like, and they just have these fanciful ideas that they've made from movies or TV shows or whatever, and they sometimes it's not great, because a little bit of information goes a long way. You need to be a little bit prepared, you know.
I totally agree. I find that a little bit of study, even just a little, even a Wikipedia article is a little bit helpful than nothing. But to give you a sense of what the time frame is or where you are, because as you say, in those movies and in those TV shows, they block off the street, and they even if they shoot it on location, there's no people, there's no cars.
It's totally unrealistic. It's like, oh, well, okay. Even if you watch the TV shows that Rick Steves does, he's very popular, but you know what? They clear the place. When he goes anywhere, he goes with videographers and makeup people, and all the place is empty, and you know, it's not realistic. It just isn't. It's a set.
Right. So I think that's what. So tell me, you've come through. If people are listening to this now, maybe if they listen to this in 3 years, this is all just a bad dream. But you're now. How is tourism going in Paris and in France now for you and Elise and your fellow tour people?
Okay, so tourism in general is down a lot, but because I do the apps and the guided tours on the app, it hasn't. I mean, when nobody was coming, and we just went down to zero, and that was that. But it's come up quite nicely for me. Paris has a lot fewer visitors because no Asians are coming at this time, because they can't leave. You know, if you're Australian, you can't come. So there are restrictions on travel that are impacting these countries.
Two huge population groups. Yeah.
It's not that France wouldn't have them, because in France we're happy to have anybody who's vaccinated, and but a lot of visitors cannot come, and so Paris is very empty. I mean, I have seen photos of visitors. I also do a Facebook group, the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook, and there's photos of visitors there in front of the Mona Lisa with nobody around.
Oh my goodness. You know? So that should get everybody out there. Don't, because you know what I'm thinking, Annie, I have never been to Versailles ever.
Right.
All the times I've been. And I'm thinking, this is the year I go to Versailles, because
Perfect time.
I've never wanted to go and have a bad time with a million people. And so this is the year.
Yeah, there's photos of two ladies who were in Versailles yesterday, I think. Nobody, I mean, the Hall of Mirrors, there's 5 people in the Hall of Mirrors.
Oh.
You know, it's like unreal. It's unreal. So it's really nice because, I mean, French people have made up for this summer in France, because all French people just had their vacation in France. Nobody went anywhere else. So the tourist season was actually pretty good for most places in rural France or whatever, because French people just went and enjoyed the beach and the mountains and the scenic little villages and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So their season was fine, but it's just foreign visitors who are used to going to Paris, very few. I mean, some Americans, some Canadians, but nowhere near the normal. So you can find very good deals on hotels. You can find the restaurants are not full. You can easily find I'm sure you've been to Paris before. You go to a cafe and you would like to sit down here, and you can't because it's full of people. Well, that doesn't happen so much now. There's places everywhere.
So this is the time. If you're vaccinated, everybody should get on the apps, follow Annie on Join Us in France podcast. And you have a closed Facebook group. I'm in that, but I don't remember how I got in it. Is that through Patreon supporters, or is that through?
No, it's for anybody, but you just need to
get clearance first.
Yes, it's for people who listen to the podcast. So we try to not open it to everybody, because there's a million groups that do that sort of thing. And I am very active in the group. I mean, I go every day and I answer questions. And so I don't want it to get too big. Honestly, too big. We're around 7,000, and I really want to keep it under 10,000. Because at times it was way bigger. We went over 10,000 for a while, and it was unmanageable.
Yeah.
Just too much bickering and
yes. That's
and then the
beautiful.
threads get super long and nobody reads anything, so you keep repeating the same thing, and it was just frustrating. So, and I don't think Facebook is that great of a place to go get serious information, serious travel information, because when you have 50 people that answer one question and they all say something different, how do you know?
How do you evaluate it? No, of course.
Yeah. And even if you know that this person is a moderator, maybe they know better. Well, but still, if you have 50 other opinions, it's hard not to be confused,
Yeah.
So I think Facebook is good for entertainment, for showing your photos, for sharing your photos, and
inspiration, but not for good information. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because I agree, and especially there have been such complicated rules about travel over the past year and a half, and so we want to get where do we want to get our information from right now, Annie? When there is a question about.
So I also have a newsletter. If you go to joinusinfrance.com/newsletter, you just sign up for the newsletter. It's obviously free. It comes out a couple times a month, no more, and I just keep people updated about travel things. So there's some inspiration about travel to France, but also right now it's a lot of, this is how vaccination is going. These are the rules about masks. This is how you get because we have a health pass now in France, and it's being enforced pretty much everywhere. And it's really helped keep the pandemic, bring it down fast, because this summer it was spiking up again. It's way down everywhere. So that's really good. We actually have better vaccination rates in France than in the US.
I know. After you started much behind us in terms of the timing of availability. Right. Yeah, you've really.
But I think recently I've heard that the American administration is really pushing vaccination heavily, as heavily as they can. The French president started doing that mid-July.
Right.
And saying, look, we're going to put in a health pass. You're going to not be able to do a lot of things unless you're vaccinated. And that really spiked up the numbers.
The
I mean,
compliance.
there were plenty of people around me, my family members, who were saying, I'll do it when it's mandatory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now most of them are vaccinated. There's one kid, one 18-year-old, who is like stubborn. And that was funny because she needed a ride. We're going to spend a weekend together and she doesn't want to go with her parents. She wanted me to give her a ride. And I said, no vaccine, no spending 2 hours with me in the car. Take the train. Oh, oops, no, you can't take the train either. Ha! You're going to have to hitchhike.
So did it work or is she staying home?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what she's going to do.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's how it works. Is there are people who are stubborn. Maybe that's all. Maybe they're afraid of the shot. I don't know, whatever it is. But if it gets inconvenient enough, they'll do it eventually. I think by the end of the year, we'll have 95% vaccinated, fully vaccinated in France.
That's amazing.
Of the eligible people, because obviously
under 12 is
under
still
12. No, no. Just like in the US, that's the same worldwide, I think. Nobody under 12 can be vaccinated. And that's one of the big reasons why we need to get vaccinated, so that we protect the kids under 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? Anyway, so anyway, France is doing very well as far as the vaccination rates. The QR codes are working very well. The health pass is working very well. If you need help getting a health pass, I can help you. That's, there's a whole, you have to apply, and it takes a couple of, a week or two to get it, because they have a lot of requests, but it works.
Good, because we've applied for it, and I have a receipt from them that they've received the application. And the application is a little tricky for Americans, I think, to decide what's their foreign address. Does that mean their foreign address to France, or their address in France? So
right, yeah. But they give you 5 lines, so you can do both.
Both, yeah.
That's what I would do. I would just do home address, whatever address in the US, and then one of the hotels or Airbnb or whatever, where you're going to be staying in France. And if you're staying on more than one, just pick one, whatever.
Just pick one.
And just list them both, because you have enough room to do both.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true that the form is not very obvious. And also the other thing that trips up people is where it says country where you got your vaccine. Because, long ago I was a software translator, and software pulls lists from different places. And sometimes the translators don't have access to certain lists. And it looks like they don't have access to the list of countries, because even if it says, in good English, where were you vaccinated? You open the list and it's all in French.
Yeah.
And so if you look for USA, you're like, oh, there's no USA.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. If I spelled United States, it didn't give me it. But when I put État, it popped right up.
États-Unis is what you want. Yes. But if you do it through France Connect, so log back in and just look through your stuff and maybe change something. Maybe like if you did, I don't know, if you're in California and you did CA, maybe make it California or something. Because just the fact that you update it a little bit, it will bring it back up.
Oh, that's a good tip. That's a
trick to get it looked at.
Yeah.
Or if you know your dates of travel and you didn't before, you just say, hey, I'm coming on this date. I need help.
Yeah.
So updating your application is a good thing as well.
Oh, that's a good one. Because, years ago, I learned from someone, I can't remember if it was Polly Platt or someone, she said that the magic words in French are, excusez-moi de vous déranger.
Oui.
If you say that, even a burglar, if you say that when you break into the house, they'll treat you with respect.
Sure. You don't have to say it quite this long anymore. You can just say, excusez-moi.
Okay.
Or just bonjour.
Bonjour first. Yes.
Just bonjour first. So you just like yesterday I was at a store and I needed to ask where something was, and I just say bonjour, excusez-moi, oui, blah blah blah, and then they love you because you're polite.
Okay. Because I've noticed that sometimes Americans think that making too much small talk is actually more disruptive or ruder to people. And so I've learned that it's completely the opposite. If I'm saying quickly, they'll be like, bonjour, madame.
Yes. Yeah. And
Vous aider?
also you need to explain. You need, like in France, if that's why when you need to when if you want vegan food, you can just explain. You can just say, je ne mange pas de viande, je ne mange pas de poisson, je ne mange pas d'œuf, je mange pas de lait.
Right.
You can just say, je ne mange pas tout ça. Vous avez quelque chose que je peux manger? And they will. You just have to explain.
Yes.
It's not a problem. Conversing is a good thing in France.
Yeah, I think that's something. I think that's something for kind of nervous vegan or new vegan travelers to really remember that the French do like to have that interchange. That they want to know why, what's going on with you.
Right. What is it with you that you don't eat eggs? Like,
Yeah,
what? Not even eggs?
You came to Toulouse and you don't want,
Right.
cassoulet.
And you can just laugh with them, say, oh, when I was little, they made me eat chocolate. And now, yes, whatever. Just tell them a story. If you can make them smile, and even if if your French is not very good, it's fine. You can do it in English, but first you have to say bonjour. First thing.
That's so good.
Don't even try anything else before you say bonjour.
And when do we say bonsoir, Annie? What time?
Doesn't matter. No? 6 p.m. or as soon as it gets dark, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's actually a thing, like if I'm walking my dog late and I say bonjour and the guy says bonsoir, I say, oh, you pas si tard que ça. So, I just make it a joke. Oh, it's not that late,
So as Americans, we shouldn't feel corrected when they respond that way. We should just go, oh yeah, this is when they think it's time for.
Yeah. It's just a little silly game, like. Yeah. Or you can make a joke like, well, I'm not late. I don't know about you. Are you late? I'm not late. It's just a little silly.
So Annie, I think this is thank you so much for coming on. I want to respect your time. I want everybody, I'm going to put the notes to a lot of what you've mentioned in the show notes. And I think what you've done is you've encouraged even the more timid of us to go to France and ask for what we want and maybe be prepared once in a while, just like everywhere else, like in the United States, like everywhere else. You don't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just
absolutely and especially this year, as a matter of fact, because we have so few visitors, most restaurateurs are more than happy to accommodate you. It's just that they want to understand what you want,
what you're asking for.
Yeah, why? What would make you happy?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's wonderful. And I'm going to check in with some of my what I find when I'm there. I'm going to be in Toulouse, your area, Carcassonne, Bordeaux, and then Paris. And as I said, my itinerary isn't fully fleshed out, but definitely Versailles. That idea of Versailles not being super busy, this is the time.
It's excellent. It's beautiful. It's very nice. Yes, you'll enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Annie. Thank you for being on, and thank you for all your advice. And everybody knows where to find you. They'll find you through the show notes.
Merci beaucoup.
À bientôt.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
So, mes amis, what did you think about Annie? So down to earth and reassuring. Exactly what a travel professional should be, in my opinion anyway. There is enough uncertainty and breathless excitement in travel. I like my travel advisors to be thoughtful, experienced, and calm. Just like Annie Sargent. And I'm laughing at myself and laughing that there I was, still thinking in this interview, there must be some magic words or some French expression to open the gates of understanding and get French restaurateurs to understand what a vegan traveling in France wants to eat. But no, what did Annie say? She said, just ask. You see, I still need to take my own advice. Just ask for what you want. As a longtime Francophile, I've told myself a story for many, many years that vegans are merde out of luck most places in France, and it's hard to give up a story
that you've practiced, isn't it? So I'm on to myself, and I'm going to give everyone in every cafe, hotel, and restaurant I visit a chance to show me their best efforts by not overthinking it and just asking for what I want. What a concept. Just as I would if it were any other place I visit, here at home or in one of those famously vegan-friendly capitals like London or Berlin. Don't worry, you will get a chance to hear how it goes. I'm planning to record at least one Vedge Your Best podcast while I'm in France. As a girl, I wanted to be a foreign correspondent. Now I finally get my chance. So make sure you listen to Annie Sargent on her podcast, Join Us in France. And if you are considering an upcoming visit to France, I truly recommend hiring Annie for an itinerary consultation. It's a super affordable way to avoid, costly mistakes and double booking yourself and expecting to find trains in places you'll never find a train. Get an experienced eye on your plans. So start by going to joinusinfrance.com website, which is easily searchable by city and region. And honestly, you cannot imagine how many resources and ideas are there. Missed something? I'll put the links in the show notes. Vedge Your Best podcast production, music, and editing by Charlie Weinshank. Thanks, Charlie. Before you go, it would mean so much to me and the Vedge Your Best team if you would hit subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, or share with someone you think might be interested. Something about algorithms, it helps bump us up a little in the rankings, and that's the best way to help others find the podcast and for us to find our audience. So, until next week, make it easy and Vedge Your Best.